Hello students. In previous class we discussed about introduction to macroeconomics. Introduction to macroeconomics. In that we discussed meaning of macroeconomics. So now we are going to discuss about emergence of macroeconomics. Emergence of macroeconomics. What is the meaning of this? In which situation macroeconomics was developed or introduced, and who developed? What was the situation? What was the situation when it was developed, when it was introduced? So here the macroeconomics has primarily developed by two schools of thoughts. Two schools of thought. Two schools means there are two teams. There are two teams. One is classical thought, another one is Keynesian school of thought. It's nothing but it's a group of economists. Group of economists. Classical thought means especially Adam Smith, J.S. Mill, J.B. Say, David Ricardo, Marshall, A.C. Pigo, etc. These are all made a team, and they were introduced their policies. They were introduced their suggestions. So they were believed laissez-faire policy. They were believed in laissez-faire policy. So the team of these members only we can call classical thought. Another one is Keynesian school of thought. First one is classical thought. Second one is Keynesian school of thought. So macroeconomics has primarily developed by two schools of thought. One is classical thought. Another one is Keynesian school of thought. So classical thought includes like Adam Smith, J.S. Mill, J.B. Say, David Ricardo, Alfred Marshall, A.C. Pigo, like etc. So these people only, they were introducing their thoughts, their suggestions, they were giving suggestions, they were given the guidance to the development of an economy. So this team name is classical thought. The classical school of thought is presented by a group of economists. Group of economists who believed in laissez-faire policy. Laissez-faire policy, what is the meaning of this? Laissez-faire policy means leave us alone. Leave us alone. That means freedom from government intervention in economic activities. Freedom from government intervention in economic activities. That means in economy, to take any decision like what to produce, how to produce, whom to produce, how much to produce, what should be produced, like this. For these decisions there is no interference by the government. In taking of this type of decision, there is no interference by the government. So that is only they were believed in laissez-faire policy. So according to them means especially Adam Smith, J.S. Mill, J.B. Say, David Ricardo, Marshall, A.C. Pigo, like etc. So these people were believed in laissez-faire policy. That means there is no need of government intervention in economic activities. Economic activities means production, consumption, distribution, exchange. Like what should be produced, what should be consumed, what should be exchanged, what should be distributed. So for in these decisions, not necessary to interfere by the government. Then how it will be developed? So that is according to them, they believed in laissez-faire policy. They believed that market forces means demand and supply. Market forces means demand and supply. The market forces through invisible hand. Invisible hand means, so automatically it will be fix the price where the demand and supply are equal. So at that point only the price will be fixed. So according to them, no one should be interfering in the market, especially government. No one should be interference to the market to fix the price, because the market forces, they can set up their prices through invisible hand. They believed in invisible hand. Invisible hand means something is there. So the situation only created the fix the price. for goods and services, where the demand and supply, the market forces means demand and supply. Market forces means demand and supply, because the price fixed it especially depends on the demand and supply. If the demand is more, that time price will be increase. If the demand will be less, price will be less. Like this, if the supply increase, demand will be decrease. If the demand increase, supply will be decrease. Because of demand increase means, for any goods and services, demand increase means supply will be less. Because of supply less only, demand is increasing. If the supply is more, what is the effect? Demand will be decrease. If the supply will be more, demand will be decrease. If the supply will be less, demand will be increase. So here, where both are intersect, where both are equal, both means demand and supply, so both are equal, that is only called as equilibrium point. So at this point only, price will be fixed for goods and services. Who believed this? Classical economic thought. They believed in the economic activities there is no interference by the government, so they can only fix their prices. Where, how? That is through the invisible hand. Invisible hand means definitely there will be something in the market, so where both are demand and supply both are equal, so at that point only it automatically fix the price level through the invisible hand, and will attain full employment and equilibrium of the economy. So they believed, especially Adam Smith and team, they believed there is no need of interference by the government in economic activities to fix the price, to take decision like what to produce, how to produce, whom to produce. For this type of take any decisions, no need of interference by the government, and no need of interference by the government to fix the price. Why? Because in the economy, the market forces through invisible hand. Market forces means demand and supply through invisible hand. Visible, which can see; invisible, which cannot see. Okay, so invisible hand will attain full employment. Full employment means all the people are working, all the people are getting employment, like all the people are earning wages, and everything is in equilibrium situation. Means how much demand is there, that much only supply also available. So that is both demand and supply are equilibrium in this economy. They believed in that. So Adam Smith is regarded as a father of economics, especially founding father of modern economics. Okay, Adam Smith is regarded as the founding father of modern economics. His well-known work is, that means he has introduced his famous book, which one? An Inquiry into the Nature and Cause of the Wealth of Nations. Very important. His well-known work is An Inquiry into the Nature and Cause of the Wealth of Nations. It's simple, we can call like Wealth of Nations. Wealth of Nations. Very important for 1 mark. See, Adam Smith is regarded as the founding father of modern economics. His well-known work is An Inquiry into the Nature and Cause of the Wealth of Nations, in his famous book. So through this book only he has developed the concept, which one? In the market there is no need of interference by the government. The price will fix through invisible hand. How? Where the both demand and supply, the market forces, where the both demand and supply will be equal. So at this point only the price will be fixed. That's why there is no need of interference by the government. Okay, so they believed in this, and also according to them, they are imagining attain full employment. They are attaining full employment. Full employment means all the laborers who are ready to work. All the laborers who are ready to work will find employment, and all the factories will be working at their full capacity. It's very important for 1 mark. See, they believed market forces, demand and supply. Market forces means demand and supply through invisible hand. Invisible means which cannot seen, which is not able to seen, which is not possible to seen. Invisible hand will attain full employment. So they believed in that. There is no need of interference by the government to fix price and to take any decision like economic decision. But here, according to them, they believed in laissez-faire policy. According to them, in the market or in the economy, no need of interference by the government, because through invisible hand, the market forces, demand and supply, they will fix their prices. Depends upon the demand and supply. And they believed attain full employment. See, all the laborers who are ready to work, all the laborers who are ready to work will find employment. That means full employment situation. All the laborers in the economy, they are ready to work and they are finding the employment. That means all people are, all workers, all people are working. All the laborers are working and all the factories will be working. All the factories will be working at their full capacity. That means they are utilizing complete natural resources. They are using complete natural resources and all the people are working. That means in the economy we can see full employment situation. There is no unemployment. There is no unemployment according to classical thought. According to Adam Smith and team. According to Adam Smith and team, so they believed in laissez-faire policy. That means leave us alone. That means in the economy, to fix the price or to take decision about what to produce, how to produce, whom to produce. For this, no need of interference by the government. Here, automatically the price will be fixed. How? Especially the market forces through invisible hand. Market forces means demand and supply. In the economy, automatically it can fix the price through the invisible hand. They believed in that. So, and also they believed in all the laborers who are, just imagining, all the laborers who are ready to work will find employment and all the factories will be working at their full capacity. So this school of thought is known as the classical tradition or classical school of thought. So this is very important. They believed full employment situation. How? Through the invisible hand. Through the invisible hand, which cannot be seen. So there is a something in the economy, they can fix the price. It can fix the price. How? Through the demand and supply, market forces. According to them, in the economy there is a full employment condition. They are imagining that, classical thought team members imagining that in the economy there is a full employment condition. So they believed in that one. So at the time of 1930, the economic thought policy period at the time of 1930 was dominated by the classical economists. So are you clear? Imagining that in the economy, the classical economic thoughts are running. In the economy, all the people are getting employment according to classical thought. All the people are getting employment, all the people are earning more, and all the factories will be working at their full capacity. That means utilizing properly of natural resources. There is no unemployment situation. They believed in that. At the time of 1930, it was dominated by the classical economists. They believed in laissez-faire policy. So in this situation, there was a Great Depression at the time of 1929 and subsequent years, when they believed in full employment situation and there is no need of interference by the government. In this situation, there was a Great Depression. Great Depression means, see, output and employment levels in the countries, especially Europe and North America, fall by huge amounts. Great Depression means decreasing the value of goods and services. That means no demand. No demand means no production. No production means no employment. No employment means no income. Okay, so this was called as depression. Depression means nothing but there was no situation, more demand for goods and services. So what happened? All the people are depends upon the classical economic thought. Especially they were depending classical economic thought, because according to them there is no need of interference by the government to fix the price level and to take any decision about what to produce like this. So in this situation, all the countries started to facing Great Depression. Great Depression means, see, there is no demand for goods and services. So in this situation, say especially at the time of 1929 and the subsequent years, Europe and North America. Europe and North America and other countries fall by huge amounts. Which one? Output and employment. There was no demand for goods and services. That's why the product was stopped. The production was stopped. When the production stopped, there was no employment situation. There was no employment situation. So it affected other countries of the world as well. Gradually it is increasing. Which one? There was no demand for output and employment. So demand for goods in the market was low. Demand for goods in the market was low. Many factories lying idle. Many factories lying idle. Idle means then stop the production. Idle means stopped the production. That means there is nothing, not doing anything, and workers were thrown out of jobs because there was no demand for goods. At that time there was no supply. No supply means they stopped the production. Stopped the production means not necessary to do work. That's why workers were thrown out of jobs. And in USA from 1929 to 1933, in the year of 1929 and up to 1933, unemployment rate rose from 3% to 25%. 3% to 25%. Increased. Unemployment rate was increased. What is the meaning of unemployment rate? That is the number of people who are not working. The number of people who are not working and are looking for jobs. How we can calculate this one? That is depends upon the divided by the total number of people who are working. See, the unemployment rate was increased. From 3% to 25%. Not employment, unemployment. Why? Because demand for goods in the market was low. Many factories lying idle. Idle means stopped the production. And the time where there was no production, no jobs for workers. This time workers were thrown out of jobs. Why? Because there was no interference by the government to fix the price level. That time the private people, what happened? They increased the price of goods and services to get more and more profits. When they were increased price of goods and services, that time the common people or poor people are not ready to purchase goods and services. That time demand, what happened? Decreased. They fixed their prices. Especially they believed in automatic function. Automatic function means in the economy the market forces through invisible and attaining full employment. So they believed in laissez-faire policy. No one fixing the price. In the economy automatically it will fix the price. They believed in that. So that's why at the time of 1929 and 30, especially in USA, like Europe, North America, so the output and employment level was completely fall by huge amounts. And at the time of 1929-33, the unemployment rate rose from 3% to 25%. That means unemployment rate means the number of people who are not working and looking for jobs. Over the same period, aggregate output also, like in USA, fell by about 33%. 33% of production was stopped. Output was stopped. The Great Depression, this is called as Great Depression. The Great Depression of 1930, especially it happened at time of 1929. The Great Depression of 1930 proved that classical economic policy was wrong. This situation has proved that the classical economic policy was wrong. What they were believed? Automatic functioning. According to them, automatic functioning, and they believed in invisible hand. But here the automatic function was clearly visible. We can see. Okay, we are observing, we are thinking, we are watching. What is that? What is happening in the world? What's happening in the world? The demand, it was low. When the demand was low, the factory is lying idle. Idle means stunned, no production. They stopped the production. Then nothing. They're not doing anything. And workers were thrown out of jobs. So it was proved by the classical economic policy. That means what they were believed, that completely wrong. Which one? Classical economic thought, that was completely wrong. What they were believed in laissez-faire policy, that was completely wrong. Because of this only the situation created. Which situation? Great Depression. It happened. It started at the time of 1929. So automatic functioning was clearly visible, but according to them, invisible. Okay, so in this situation, it is necessitated new interpretation and analysis of macroeconomics. So it has forced, this situation has forced to introduce new interpretation and analysis of macroeconomics, because completely entire economy believed in laissez-faire policy and classical economic thought. They were believed in invisible hand. According to them, the market forces through invisible hand, they are attaining full employment situation. According to them, all the people are working, all the laborers are working. There was no unemployment situation. According to them, all the laborers were working, especially who are ready to work will find employment, and all the factories will be working at their full capacity. They believed in that. But here, at the time of 1929, the situation, the Great Depression happened at the time of 1929. It has proved that classical economic policy was wrong, because automatic function was clearly visible. They believed in invisible. Automatic function was clearly visible in this situation. Like, the situation has forced to introduce new interpretation and analysis of macroeconomics. So at the time of 1930 and 36, Keynes filled the macroeconomics with his fresh and revolutionary approach. He is called as who? John Maynard Keynes. He is called as revolutionary economist, because when the economy starts falling down, there was no demand for goods and services. Where there was no demand for goods and services, the production was stopped. So many workers lost their jobs, and demand output also low, even employment level also low. So it was the unemployment situation was increased from 3% to 25%. So in this situation, it has forced to introduce a new economic policy it was filled by the Keynes. So he has filled the macroeconomics with his fresh and revolutionary approach through his famous book, which was that the General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money. The General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money. He has published in 1936. Very important book. This is Keynes' famous book, The General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money, published in 1936. Through this book, he has called the government to interfere in the market. To fix the price and to take decision what to produce, how to produce, whom to produce, when to produce, how much to produce. For all this, we will take the decision according to him should be taken by the government. What the classical thought, they were believed laissez-faire policy. According to them, government should not interfere in the market. For that sake only, at the time of 1929 and 30, it has started the Great Depression. Great Depression means the output level and employment level was less or low. So where there was no demand, there was no production. No employment. No income. So it was very dangerous. So that's why in this situation, at the time of 1936, the Keynes has introduced his famous book, The General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money. So through this, he has called the government to interference in the market to fix the price level. So that's why he is considered as a revolutionary economist. He only developed the macroeconomics. So James Keynes have strengthened the macroeconomics. Presently, macroeconomics has inevitable. That means it's very important for various policy formulations. So whatever you want to introduce, whatever you want to develop, whatever you want to do in the economy, macroeconomics is very important. So we are now presently the macroeconomics used for to make any policy formulations, or to check up to increase or develop the national income, and to increase the employment, and to know the poverty level, and to check the fluctuation of economic cycles. Fluctuation means sometimes economy will be development will be goes up, sometimes economy development will be goes down. So in this situation, and also inflation means money value will be decrease, price of goods and services increase. So to know the situation, and foreign trade like export, import, and balance of payment. Balance of payment means like it's a list of export and import of a country in a year. Balance of payment means it's a list of export and import of list of a year in a country. And also to know the monetary and fiscal policy. Monetary and fiscal policy. Monetary policy means it's related to the Reserve Bank of India. Behalf of the Reserve Bank of India, the monetary policy, it will take the decision. Okay, we will discuss later. And also fiscal policy, it's behalf of the government. Through fiscal policy, it can introduce, like it can do any work of behalf of the government. So for all this, the present macroeconomics is very important. So don't forget, at the time of 1936, from 1929 to 1936, there was a Great Depression. The situation was Great Depression. Why it happened? Because the classical economic thought, they were believed in laissez-faire policy. According to them, in the economy, in the market, through the market forces, demand and supply, through invisible hand, automatically it will be functioning. It will fix the price. Where the demand and supply both are equal, it fixes the price level at the equilibrium point. But when at the time of 1929, what happened? The Great Depression means the demand was low. Why demand was low? Because all the producers, they were increasing the price for their goods and services, and the poor people not possible to purchase goods and services. That's why demand was less. When the demand was less, employment rate also decreased. Why? Where there was no demand, the producers stopped the production. So no production, no employment. No income. Okay, no income, no per capita income. No national income. There is no development in the country. So it was a situation. So in this situation, Keynes filled the macroeconomics with his fresh and revolutionary approach through his famous book, The General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money, published in 1936. Okay, after that only it has developed which one? Macroeconomics. In next class we will discuss about scope of macroeconomics. If you have any doubt, you can call. Thank you.